Okay, so now that we've talked about seedless plants, the non-vascular seedless and the vascular seedless plants, we're going to learn about seed plants. Now, all plants that produce seeds are vascular. They all have vascular tissue. So this is learning target 34. Describe how vascular seed plants are classified. So your central question, what are characteristics of seed plants? So characteristics, they have vascular tissue, they reproduce by seeds, they have leaves and roots. So the leaves, these are the organs of the plants. Like we have our body organs, the leaves are the plant's organs. Where food making process occurs, this is where photosynthesis occurs. Now the leaf has different layers. It has an epidermis, which covers and protects the leaf. They have stomatas, which are small openings in the epidermis that let carbon dioxide, water, and oxygen enter and exit the leaf. And they also have a guard cell that surrounds the stomata that opens and closes it. So let's take a look at a cross-section of a leaf. Okay, so now this obviously has more than what I just showed you, but oh, and I forgot to mention the cuticle is the waxy surface of a leaf that keeps water from evaporating off. There's your epidermis underneath the cuticle. You've got the little openings right here. The guard cell is what opens that stomata so that it can let water and nutrients in. And you probably want to draw this in your notes, just so you have it. Right here, that vein, that's the vascular tissue that's coming in through the leaf. That's delivering nutrients to the leaf. Stems, these are located above the ground. They support branches and leaves and the reproductive structures. The stems are where the vascular tissue is located. Roots, this is where water and other substances enter a plant like nutrients. Roots also have vascular tissue. They also act as an anchor and they can sometimes store food. Okay, so let's talk about how we classify vascular seed plants. So gymnosperms are the oldest trees. They've been around on Earth the longest. They produce seeds that are not protected by a fruit. They have no flower. The seeds are in the cones. These are the ones that we see all the time. They're your evergreens, your conifers, your pines, your firs, your spruces. Then we have angiosperms. These are my favorite. These are the flowering plants that sometimes produce a fruit, not always, but they have the seeds either in the fruit or the flowers. Now, angiosperms, I'm going to get into the classification on those in just a minute, but I want to go back and show you a chart. So if you look, okay, a majority of your species here on Earth are the angiosperms, they're the flowering. Then you've got the cone bearing. There aren't a lot of evergreens because they like colder weather. And then there's your ferns, which are your vascular seedless plants, mosses, which are your non-vascular seedless plants. So the biggest section that we have on Earth are the angiosperms, my favorite. Okay, so let's look at how angiosperms are classified. They're classified as either monocots or dicots. Monocots, the flowers, are in multiples of 3. So, multiples of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we've got 2 sets of 3 for 6. Okay, they have leaves are usually long and narrow with parallel veins. So when you look at the leaves, they run in parallel lines. Dicots are flowers in multiples of 4 or 5. The leaves are wider and bigger. Okay, so the leaves are wider and bigger. 4 or 5. This flower has 4. So let's look at some other characteristics between the two. Let me get to it. So inside a seed, you've got a single cotyledon, and there's 2 in the dicot. There's the parallel veins for the leaves for the monocots. They're narrower. Look how much bigger the dicots are. There's your flower parts in multiples of 3, and then flower parts in multiples of 4 and 5. In the stems, the vascular tissue are in what we call bundles for monocots. They're spread around. In dicots, the vascular tissues form a ring around the stem, or inside the stem. Okay. Okay, so importance of seed plants. So the gymnosperms, we use them for lumber, paper, soap, varnish, waxes, and paint. The angiosperms, we use them for food, sugar, chocolate, cotton, linen, rubber, vegetable oil, perfume, and medicine. Okay, so that's how we classify vascular seed plants into gymnosperms and angiosperms, and then the angiosperms are classified as monocots and dicots. And you were also given the information about the vascular seed plants, some characteristics like the leaves, roots, and stems. So that is learning target 34.